I would like to ask you a question. What makes a productive member of society? Studies have shown that all productive members of society have some common character traits. They have a strong sense of empathy, which leads to being able to cope correctly with the situations that life throws at them, as well as having a mental, my bad, excuse me, as well as being able to think processes through. Hello, my name is Hannah Sherman, and I'm here to explain to you how reading, something that in today's society is slightly underestimated, can contribute emotionally to making you a productive member of society. So reading is slightly underestimated in today's society, and that's sad because reading is a privilege. Throughout history, books weren't even being able to distribute fast enough until the creation of the Gutenberg printer. Before the Gutenberg printer, all books were written with quill pens. Using quill pens, it took about a year to write one book. Not only did it take 1 year for each book, but it was also on parchment paper. Parchment paper is thicker and made of different material than today's common paper. This thicker, different paper cost about 3 times more than what we know as today's common paper. After the invention of the Gutenberg printer, 27,000 books was distributed rapidly in 1 year. So we have 27,000 books being distributed roughly a year, but nobody could read them still. Only the privileged was allowed to know how to read. This is based off of Latin pedagogy, meaning that the privileged should be left to the privileged. Reading was still seen as a privilege and could not be taught to the bottom 90%. Any black man in the United States was whipped if he was found reading. No women was allowed to be taught how to read. And you see, back then they had to be taught how to read because there was no common written language. We didn't have dictionaries back then so that they could look up how to spell their words, what the word means. Speaking of spelling, there was 4 different ways to spell the word color before 1850. I wouldn't recognize this or this as the word color. So how is it that somebody, a woman, or a black man who has never had formal teachings, supposed to recognize any word? However, this is really important because of the emotional aspects that reading instills into a person. One of the most important is empathy. Empathy is being able to connect emotionally with a stranger or a friend. And somebody who is empathetic can be considered pro-social. Somebody who is pro-social is associated with a higher performance in the workplace, generally more creative, Somebody who isn't empathetic, you may see on my trifold that there is 3 common aspects to being unempathetic. Normally it leads to self-harm because you do not have a way to cope comfortably with the problems of life, but it also leads to being socially awkward because you're not able to connect with the people around them. Being depressed and socially awkward often leading to dangerous situations in your environment around you because you can't sense when somebody has ill intent. This led me to my product. I wanted the people around me, the people that I've gone to school with for 13 years, to be able to know when they're in a dangerous situation. I didn't want my fellow students to be unable to cope with the dangers or the situations of life. I created what I called a spotlight book. This spotlight book came with the intention to help high school students read more. In elementary and middle school, they're already encouraged. But programs that the school has, such as sustained silent reading, which is in middle school, which is about 30 minutes in each language arts class, for them to silently sit and read, or in elementary, when these elementary kids are assigned reading as homework. We don't have that in high school, and I feel like that's a problem because we don't have the emotional release that elementary and middle school has, even as the teachers are piling on more and more work. That was the goal of my product. In reality, though, it didn't work as well because I didn't put it in a high enough traffic area throughout the school. It took me about 2 trifolds before I moved it. And after I moved it though, I did get feedback from students who told me that they enjoyed what I was doing, that they enjoyed the books that was chosen, and that they would continue to look for the books that I would choose and that they would continue to read these books. Every year, everybody has challenges on their senior projects. Mine included student participation and procrastination. Procrastination is a horrible thing, and not time management. You have to schedule around work, you have to schedule around parents, your mentor's work schedule. But it also doesn't help if you don't have the student participation that my product needed. I didn't personally want to choose the books that I was going to spotlight because I felt like it would have a biased turn to it. Me choosing plots that I knew I would like or genres I knew I would like. I didn't want to have any bias, so I wanted student or teacher participation. I didn't get those for the first 2 or 3 trifolds, and then after that, I got a little better about asking students, and I was able to get such as IQ on my trifold that was recommended to me by Miss Spencer. This year we had a new stretch, and it included technology. For my technology stretch, I created a web page to go on the Willow Springs High School library web page. I included on it any new books that was coming into the library, the book that I was spotlighting at the time, along with the award-winning books at this time, this year. Reading's super important. Everybody needs the emotional release. Everybody needs the empathy that comes with it to become productive members of society. I would like all students, middle school, elementary, and high school, to continue to be encouraged, even as their schedules get hectic, or even as they have more work, they still need to take at least 20 to 30 minutes a day or a week just to read a book and have this emotional release. Thank you. We're excited. I think that's everything. Do my judges have any questions?
A question. How many different books did you spotlight throughout the year?
I spotlighted about 6 books throughout the year. I want to continue, at least do 1 more book before the end. I have about 2 more weeks left in school, so I feel like I'm going to be able to do 1 more trifold.
And did you like give the basic like a teaser or a basic plot, or did you have copies of that book available, or how did you do that?
I made it a requirement that the books that I spotlighted had to be available in the Willow Springs High School, and I gave on my trifold a brief summary, brief information about the author, and any interesting things that was in the book, such as interesting characters or an interesting theme. It depended on the kind of book that the information that I put on the different trifolds.
I think you talked about student participation and getting all those. Was that at the elementary level, middle school, or high school, or combined?
That was at the high school level because I was working out of the high school library, and I was trying to aim more towards high school students. So I wanted a high school level reading level along with interest. Any other?
You said that the middle school and the elementary set aside time for reading. Do you feel like the high school should be required to do that as well?
I don't feel like it should be required because while we do offer classes such as novels or poetry for them to read, I feel like it would be encouraged more if it was open for more than 1 block, or easier to fit into a high schooler's schedule, I suppose you could say. Any more questions? Okay.
Okay.